Okay, it's recording already.
Great.
Okay, I'll let you then pass along if you like. You want me to go ahead, Keiko? Pass for you?
No, I can pass. Just let me know when you would like me to advance.
Okay, good morning, everybody. We had a little bit of technical difficulties this morning. We apologize for the glitches, but we were able to tap in. Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. We're going to give about a minute for everybody to be able to join us, and we will get started momentarily. Thank you so much for being patient. Okay, Keiko, we can do. We're going to have a little bit of housekeeping items for you today. Everyone is muted. So for your best experience, so like this, there's no interference. If you would like to talk to us in some way, do it through the chat box. All the Q&A will be done at the end of the presentation, and it will be done through the Q&A box. Any questions to the presenter, please pause them in there. We'll be allocating some time at the end, as we said, for questions, and there will be some people available to answer. But if you have any additional information or you have any questions that might not be covered here, feel free to send us an email at the end of the meeting, and we will be happy to address them through our presenter today. This will be recorded, as you all know, it's being recorded by the University of California Cotax Department. And now allow me to introduce to you our presenter of today, Jessica Byers from the California Department of Public Health, Office of Oral Health. She will be introducing a subject that is very dear to her heart, and she will be working very hard on this particular subject. Introducing a sugar sweetened beverage intervention guide when sugar is not so sweet. Jessica?
All right, thank you, Nancy and Keiko and the rest of the COTAC team for helping organize today's event. Again, sorry about the little glitches this morning, but we're off and running now and don't anticipate any more issues. I also want to thank all the participants on the line today for joining. Looks like we have about 50 participants, so that's a pretty good number. And realizing it's lunchtime, I wanted to invite you all, if you have been sitting at your desk or at your kitchen counter like I'm doing right now, to go ahead and stand up. Maybe a quick stretch. It's always easy to forget to do these kind of things during the day. And of course, I have to have my nice glass of water here. So if you have your glass of water, go ahead and take a drink as well. All right, maybe a couple of deep breaths, and we will go ahead and get started. Next slide, please. We are very excited to share this intervention with you all today, when sugar is not so sweet. It's a very fun topic, so hopefully you all will enjoy this presentation today and get something out of it. Again, my name is Jessica Byers, the Rethink Your Drink coordinator from the Office of Oral Health. I have been with the office now for about 1.5 years. And prior to that, I also did other Rethink Your Drink trainings for the state in a different program as well. So pretty well versed on the topic. And in my time with the Office of Oral Health, our main goals as the Rethink Your Drink coordinator is to bring you all resources that you can use, especially in your local oral health programs. And if you're on the call today and you aren't familiar with the local oral health programs or the LOHPs, we will do some framing around how this intervention will benefit and how it's kind of come to light. So in looking at bringing resources to you for your work plans, and for California, we've really looked at things that we could use across the state that doesn't necessarily have to be developed by county. So if we develop these resources for California, it's something that you can easily pick up and utilize, as opposed to spending that extra time and energy and quite possibly money on making your own type of resources. So this is a great way. When we first started thinking about, developing some kind of intervention for you all to use, coincidentally enough, we came across an intervention that was already developed by the state of Alaska, when sugar is not so sweet. So we were able to get a hold of the state of Alaska, and they allowed us to use their intervention. The intervention was done from a CDC grant, so it was very well vetted and tested. So we thought, why reinvent the wheel? We already have this great resource. So they were gracious enough as well to allow us to put a California spin on the intervention. So like, as you'll see on this slide here, all the drinks, you should notice that they come from the Rethink Your Drink program from the state. So those are all branded and should be across the state, so we can kind of get that messaging out there. And I know you're all anxious to see the actual intervention, but for now, I want to kind of do some framework around where the intervention came from first. So next slide, please. So I'm going to take you back to the California Oral Health Plan. Now, hopefully you all are very familiar with the California Oral Health Plan, but for those who are not, we can drop the link in the chat box so that you have that available for you. The first thing in the oral health plan that I want to point out is goal 1. So goal 1 is to improve the oral health of Californians. And specifically, it's to address the determinants of health and promote healthy habits and population-based prevention interventions to attain healthier statuses in healthy communities. So you can kind of already see how Rethink Your Drink can kind of play into this goal 1 of the California Oral Health Plan. And again, this plan was developed and is for 2018 all the way up to 2028. Next slide. And if we look a little bit closer at goal number 1, we'll see different strategies that align with goal 1. So the strategy that I want to point out here is strategy 1.2. So again, this aligns very well with Rethink Your Drink, is to provide dental professionals with tools to help patients who are affected by chronic disease risk factors. So these risk factors include things like smoking tobacco, alcohol cessation, and then also the consumption of sodas and other sugar sweetened beverages. So we have our sodas, we have our sweetened coffees and teas, we have our energy drinks, we have our sports drinks. So many of the things we may not think have sugar in them, or kids might not be. So we want to bring awareness and enlightenment around that area. Next slide. And that brings us on to our local oral health program. So again, I talked about if you don't happen to be from a local oral health program today, this is kind of the framework, and you can see kind of where we're coming from. But we have about 35 of our local oral health programs that are actually participating in Objective 8. So there's a series of different objectives that they have to fulfill. And then under these objectives, we also have activities that have to be done. So all of our work kind of aligns with the strategies in order for you to complete the objectives and activities. So Objective 8 of our local oral health programs work plans is to address common risk factors for oral diseases and chronic diseases, including tobacco and sugar, and protective factors that will help reduce disease burden. Now, Objective 8 follows for tobacco use as well as sugar sweetened beverages. So I wanted to sort of highlight the Rethink Your Drink or the sugar sweetened beverage activities that fall within Objective 8, since that's what we were talking about today. So if we look at activities, 8.6, 8.7, and 8.8, the intervention that we're introducing today will all help you achieve these activities. So 8.6, create an inventory of RYD materials and resources. So this is another resource that you can add to that inventory. And then 8.7, develop and deliver training webinar on RYD for local dental offices. Again, this is something that you can just pick up and go. You don't have to develop anything. It's already developed. You can just go and present it to your dental offices. And then lastly, that kind of goes along with 8.7. 8.8 is to connect dental offices to Rethink Your Drink materials and resources. So again, this is a great way to connect with those dental offices in your communities. And we'll talk about other settings that it also might be appropriate in. Next slide, please. And I know, again, you guys all want the grand reveal of the intervention, but first I wanted to do another shout out to COTAC and the great job they're doing on their website. Tons of great resources. So anybody doing their local oral health programs who are looking to fulfill their objectives and activities, this is definitely the place to go. Again, we're talking about Rethink Your Drink today. So just wanted to point out to those resources to you. So if you look at their website, if you look at the resource center, which is on that top toolbar, the fourth from the left, you'll see a resource center. And then if you scroll down, the lower left tile there is Rethink Your Drink. So once you click on that, you'll get all kinds of resources. And many of them are just already done. All you have to do is print them, or if you want to share them, it's very easy to do that. Next page, please. All right, so this is our When Sugar is Not So Sweet training video. So I thought a great way to introduce our intervention today is to show you this training video. Again, if you guys haven't seen the intervention yet, there should have been a link in your invitation today. We can put it in the chat box. It will also be available on the COTAC website in that very place that I just showed you on their website. So this training video accompanies that intervention guide. So what is really great about this video is actually can be used as a standalone video. So you can take it out into your partners if they're interested in using the intervention and just show them this video. It's only 13 minutes, so it's not going to take hours and hours out of your day. And especially with our dental professionals today, we know that they don't have a lot of time. So we try to just make stuff really short and succinct, and so that they can get the idea to easily use this intervention. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and watch this 13-minute video. Go ahead and play the video. Oh, I don't think our audio is working.
Hello and welcome. On behalf of California Department of Public Health, Office of Oral Health, we are so excited to share this step-by-step guide to using When Sugar is Not So Sweet, a brief guide to explain how sugary drinks can harm your teeth. My name is Jessica Byers, and I am the Rethink Your Drink Coordinator for the California Department of Public Health, Office of Oral Health, and I will be facilitating this training for you all today. As a little bit of background before we get into the guide itself, I just wanted to say a quick piece on why this guide is needed. For one, as many of us know, sugar-sweetened beverages are the leading source of added sugar in children's diets. And we also know that sugar-sweetened beverages are subsequently linked to tooth decay. Specifically in California, 2 out of 5, or about 42% of children, consume at least one sugar-sweetened beverage per day. So day after day, week after week, and even year after year, this added sugar can really add up and cause many issues. Here we were talking specifically about oral health, although we all know that there are also other known health risks associated with drinking sugar-sweetened beverages. We were originally introduced to this guide from the state of Alaska's Department of Public Health and Human Services. It was developed through a grant that they received that was issued by the CDC. We found it to be very well developed and a great proven intervention to use in the dental setting to help reduce and eliminate sugar-sweetened beverages. The California Department of Public Health, Office of Oral Health, was granted permission from Alaska to both adapt and adopt the guide, or intervention, as it can be used interchangeably as it pertains to California. And I'm happy to announce today that we did just that, and that is what we will be going over to get you all familiar with the guide and to be able to take off running with it. Put simply, it is a simple guide that can be used by dental providers and other oral health educators to talk to their patients, families, and children about reducing and eliminating sugar-sweetened beverages in their diets to protect their oral health. Here is a quick overview of what the training will consist of. We will talk about using the 5 A's. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, no worries, you soon will. We will then talk about the power of motivational interviewing, as this guide is based upon motivational interviewing techniques, and then get into the nuts and bolts of the intervention itself, how it's laid out, and how to use it effectively and efficiently. And here are the 5 A's: ask, advise, assess, assist, and arrange. This guide uses the motivational interviewing method, a technique that has been shown proven results in helping people make positive behavioral change for tobacco and alcohol cessation, as well as obesity prevention, and is now being carried over to reduce sugar-sweetened beverages. The 5 A's is a motivational conversation technique that is also recommended by the American Academy of Pediatrics, so it lends itself very well to the purpose of this guide. Motivational interviewing allows the patients to voice their concerns and ideas for behavioral change, rather than having the provider tell them what changes to make and why. The basic conversation technique follows the acronym OARS: O for open-ended questions, A for affirmations, R for reflective listening, and S for summary reflections. The goal is to help the patients determine a behavioral change that works for them to promote a healthy lifestyle. The child or parent determines what they want to focus on, and then the healthcare provider or the dentist or hygienist or health educator uses reflective listening to guide them towards that change. To summarize the 5 A's, you first want to ask about sugary drinks. Next is to advise to reduce consumption of sugary drinks. Then assess readiness to making change, assist with developing a plan of action, and lastly, to arrange for follow-up and support. And now for the design of the guide. The guide has been designed so that after you're familiar with its layout, you can easily navigate the pages with the legend. The legend has a green box that will be instructions for the page, a purple box with key messages, a blue box that will contain example responses, and a yellow box that contains tips. All of these color-coded elements will be helpful as you navigate the guide. The instruction portion that will be in the green shaded boxes will provide you with the purpose of the page as well as general instructions for the page. These instructions should not be read aloud. Again, they are just meant for your reference. Next, we have the purple boxes that contain key messages that should be shared out loud to the patient. They are not, however, intended to be read word for word. To make it even easier for you, there are portions that appear in larger bolded font that are the most important messages that you want to share about the page. There are also examples of different conversation styles that can be used so that you can pick the one that works best for you and your patient. The blue boxes share example responses from a potential discussion with a patient. You will vary your response based on your professional judgment. You will also see some bullet statements in the blue box. These are statements that are recommended to be out loud as you respond to the patient. The responses take into account OARS, like we talked about earlier, and this will help you guide through the discussion. The tips portion will be in the yellow boxes, and these will provide you with background information as well as some frequently asked questions and some other explanations that may be helpful to you. You will also notice a progress bar in the lower right-hand corner of each page. This will provide you with a view of where you are at in the 5 A's progression. It will help you keep track of your progress, allow you to skip ahead or backwards easily as you have your discussion with your patient. Again, by following the guide, you will ask about sugary drinks, advise to reduce consumption of sugary drinks, assess readiness for making change, assist with developing a plan of action, and lastly, arranging for follow-up support. Throughout the guide, there will be a patient view as well as a provider view for each of the pages of the guide. The patient view will primarily be pictures and graphs with very few words. The provider view will be provided on the very next page. There will be a thumbnail picture in the upper left corner of the page that will allow you as a provider to remember what the patient is looking at as you guide the discussion. The instructions, messages, tips, and example responses that we discussed earlier in the overview of the legend will also be provided on the provider view page as appropriate in their color-coded boxes. Next, let's look at the first page of the guide a little more closely together. The patient will see a variety of drinks, both sugar-sweetened beverages and non-sugar-sweetened beverages, as you can see on this slide. The instruction on the provider view tells you the purpose of the page, which in this case is to use the visuals of various beverages to start a discussion about what your patient drinks. The key message portion suggests to say something like, let's look at these images together. Tell me which of these drinks you have on a typical day. Then in the same key messages or the purple box, there is a list of other ways that you can ask the same question to begin the conversation with the patient depending on your conversation style. Next, there's a yellow tips box. This one says to ask the child first, then confirm with the caregiver. Another tip is that you can ask more about the amounts of the drinks or the timing of drinks. It also suggests that if needed, you can use brand names to help clarify the images. Next on the provider page, the green box will guide you to reflect back on what the patient's responses to confirm understanding and to ask about the pros and cons of drinks that they consume. The blue box offers some example responses such as, so your family drinks mostly water, fruit-flavored drinks, and milk every day. And then bold, it is recommended that you add, what do you think are good things and bad things about these drinks? Next, you will see another tip in yellow that tells you that by framing the question like you did, the patient will have a sense of being in charge rather than just receiving advice, which is a great way to use motivational interviewing. And lastly, there is a summary provided for the page. Here you will want to summarize both the good and the bad responses that the patient may have given you. After you provide a summary, trying not to add any of your own examples in, you can then ask the patient, did I get that right? This shows that you are listening and being responsive to the conversation. And that's the end of the first page. Each page will have a similar layout, a patient view as well as a provider view to help guide the discussion and give you all the information that you might need. After you go through the guide, you'll start to get the hang of it and find out what works best for you and your audience. And here we get back to the first page of the guide. This is where the patient was asked what they drink, and this is what will really guide the rest of the discussion and what information is most pertinent to share with a specific patient throughout the guide. We will now go through the guide page by page so that you can get familiar with all the content of the guide. Let's go on to the next page. Now that the patient has told you what they drink, this is a page where you would advise the patient to cut back on sugary drinks that they indicated drinking. The images help describe the process of tooth decay when teeth are exposed to sugar and sugar-sweetened beverages. Here you can explain in simple terms why sugar-sweetened beverages are bad for your teeth. If a patient reports drinking few sugary drinks, that is great, and this gives a provider an opportunity to encourage them to continue to limit and eliminate sugar-sweetened beverages from their diet. Lastly, it's important on this page to ask if it's okay with them if you share a bit more information to help protect the teeth and overall health, so that you can continue the conversation and advance through the guide. Use these pictures to further improve the patient's knowledge and understanding of how sugary drinks can hurt their teeth. Here you can discuss that over time, sugary drinks can lead to tooth decay. Explain that it may be difficult to notice at first, but as you consume more sugar-sweetened beverages, the enamel starts to dissolve and there may be some changes to the teeth, such as brown or black areas. At times, untreated advanced decay cannot be fixed and the tooth may need to be removed altogether. Also, here it is important to emphasize the importance of taking care of baby teeth, as decay and other issues resulting from decay may interfere with many things, like eating, sleeping, speaking, learning. It can also be very expensive and can cause pain and can even ultimately change a child's smile. Not only can sugar-sweetened beverages cause harm to the teeth, but it's also important for the patient to understand that there are a number of additional serious health problems that can last throughout a child's lifetime, such as unhealthy weight gain, type 2 diabetes, and the increased risk of heart disease with high blood pressure and high cholesterol. Next, we move into the assessment portion of the guide. The readiness ruler can be used to assess the patient's interest in making a change and to switch to a healthier beverage. By asking them how ready they are to make a change, you can base your conversation on that. This is where you can use your professional judgment on which actions to guide the patients to take. You may decide you want to skip some of the subsequent pages if appropriate at this time. Now is the time to start to assist the patient by offering some educational resources that may open their eyes to how much sugar really is in some of these common beverages. Open the conversation by asking the patient to tell you which drink they think have the most added sugar. After you summarize their responses, you can reveal how much sugar really is in each beverage by turning to the next page. After giving them a moment to look at the sugar content of each of the beverages, ask them what they might notice. Ask them if there's anything that surprises them. For example, it may be surprising how much added sugars are in vitamin drinks and sports drinks. It is also important for them to see that water and milk do not have any added sugars and are the healthiest choices and also make a great substitute for some of the other drinks that have a lot of sugar. Finally, ask them, does any of the information bring up changes you'd like to make for you or your family? This is where you put them in charge to wanting to make the change, and this is what really drives the ultimate behavior change. This image can be used to increase the knowledge and understanding of the U.S. dietary guidelines so they can make a plan to choose healthier drinks. The images show that one sugary drink has enough sugar for the entire day. This pick a plan image will help the patient and their family choose a step in their plan to choose healthier drinks. You can ask them, do you see anything on the page that would be a way for you and your family that could make a change? Ask them to pick a change or two that they think will work for their family. Although these are not the only options, they are a good start and make the patient to think of some other ideas that may work for them and their family. If you have gone over this before with a patient, this is where you can ask how it's working for them, and then see if there's additional steps that they can make to continue their behavioral change of reducing and eliminating sugar-sweetened beverages from their diets. Finally, you want to offer support and affirm their ability to make a positive behavioral change towards reducing sugar-sweetened beverages in their diets. Here, it is important to set up follow-up appointments if appropriate, or add some notes into their records for future reference. Leave them with this last visual: to choose healthy drinks for healthy teeth by drinking water and low-fat milk.
All right, Keiko, if we can go back to the main presentation. Perfect. And next slide. All right, so that's the end of that 13-minute introduction video. So again, that can be used to give to people who want to actually use the intervention itself. And then that can accompany the PDF of the guide itself. So it makes it really simple for you guys to get the word out there of how really simple this guide is to use out in their settings. So one of the things I thought you may be wondering, and I want to apologize again for some technical difficulties. I know several of you chatted in. There's some boxes on the screen that made the video hard to see. It is a YouTube video, so when you guys use that link for the YouTube video that we will share with you all, you shouldn't have any of those problems. For some reason, Keiko, right now we have a couple of different boxes over the screen. There we go. Much better. Well, one box still. But one of the questions you all might have after seeing that video is, what settings can we actually use this intervention in? So these are just some ideas that we kind of brainstormed. They're not the end all list, but just to give you some ideas, we have talked about dental offices a lot. So as you saw, it would be a great intervention to use in the dental office, either by a dentist or a hygienist within that setting. Another great setting that it might work in is in schools. So as you can see, it's definitely geared toward children and their families. And maybe a teacher or a health educator or even a school nurse that could deliver the intervention or use pages from the intervention. And then also in the community center, we can think of the group leaders. Again, we can think of teachers and health educators going out to the community centers as well to offer some lessons. And although it's designed for sort of a one-on-one session, it could also be developed into more of a group setting. So maybe in the schools or community settings, we can have some opportunities to do small group sessions of going through that guide. Next page, please. And an additional question you might have is how to actually disperse the guide. So it is in PDF. So you can absolutely share the link with anyone who is interested, but also printing the guide. So what the state of Alaska did is they had a binder and some really nice paper that could be disinfected easily. It's a little on the pricey side, so we're trying to think of better ways that we can distribute the guide. So one way you could do it is just print front to back pages and then laminate them and then secure them with something like maybe like a ring, a binder ring, so that it keeps them together, and it also allows you to be able to disinfect them, just because in our time right now, especially, we have to be cognizant of that. The dental offices also may have some means to print the intervention. So if they have the means to do it, by all means, feel free. And then also we were thinking of different ways that we could utilize a tablet. So dental offices or in the schools, they already might have some tablets that they can use. And so we're working on developing some ways where we could have just a presentation of just the patient view that could be on the tablet for the, say, student, and then one for the teacher that has that presenter view information on it. So if you all are interested in that, if you want to let me know, we can definitely work on developing something like that. It would be great in the future to have some kind of app but we're just not there just yet. Next page. All right, I also wanted to talk a little bit about an incentive for dentists. Right now, this is just a proposal and it is pending, but I just wanted to kind of highlight it. So there is a nutritional counseling proposal that would actually, dentists and hygienists and dental offices would be able to bill for nutritional counseling. And under that nutritional counseling is sugar sweetened beverage reduction ideas to give to the patients. So this is in just children under 6 years old. It is being piloted right now and it is pending approval. So that's just another sort of incentive that may be out there in the future that dentists might have more of a use for the intervention in the future when they're able to actually bill that. Okay, next slide. And with that, I just wanted to keep it nice and short and sweet today. Hopefully that video was very informative for you. Again, you'll have access to that YouTube link that you can share and use, as well as the intervention guide. I did see a question about having the intervention guide as well as the video available, and absolutely. They actually are posted on the COTAC website right now, so you can view them there. And then they're also linked in the chat for easy use as well. So we want to use it as much as possible, distribute it as much as possible, and just get it out there any other way that we can.
And Jessica, we did have one question in the Q&A. Would you like to address it?
Sure.
It is coming from Dr. Ali, and it says, do drinks that contain sweeteners like Splenda or monk fruit also cause negative effects on oral health? He's asking the question.
Okay, yeah, great. That's a great question. And that's one that often comes up. We don't know as much about artificial sweeteners as we do about sugar itself. So we always err on the safe side of getting people to drink water and milk and other, coffees and teas that aren't added sugar to it. And then I was wondering, were we able to get Dr. Walton Haynes on the line today?
Wait, unfortunately, she's calling in, and so she wouldn't be able to.
Okay. So the short answer is we don't know as much as that. It's not been studied as much, but we also want to just really push the water, especially fluoridated water out of the tap is the best way to go for sure. And then I do see a question about water infused with lemon. We do have some work groups and we have some dental providers on that work group, and we are working with our sister group at the state, the Rethink Your Drink group, on developing some new materials and messaging that also align with oral health. So one of the discussions has been about fruit infused drinks. So we are trying to, we kind of came to the conclusion that a little bit is okay, a lot is not. So we're trying to kind of develop a message around that so that it is also beneficial for oral health. So hopefully that answers that question or that comment. So we should have, if you all familiar with the Rethink Your Drink Day recipe cards, there should be some new ones coming out where we were actually able to help them develop those. So hopefully that message is a little better for oral health and not just obesity prevention.
Okay. I don't see any other questions in the Q&A. People are wondering if we are posting all the materials. Yes, we are posting everything on the COTAC website, and it's a do makeover to all these glitches that we had today, which we sincerely apologize. We will be making sure that everybody who registered today receives a special email with the link and the materials directly to them. I'll make sure of that. And we thank you for your patience.
Yes, thank everybody so much. I also just see a question about bottled water with fluoride. To my knowledge, this is not widely available. I think it's available in some like baby type water, but we do always recommend fluoridated water from taps, realizing that not all water sources are fluoridated, that we want to make sure that we follow along with fluoride recommendations in those areas.
No other questions, Jessica.
All right. All right. If there's no other questions right now. If you think of anything later, you can feel free to contact me. If we can go to the next slide, please. I just want to sincerely thank everybody for being on the call today. It's been a long thing in the work to get this out to you guys and to get it branded for California. And I think it's a great resource for all of you, especially for those of you working on your local oral health program and following that California oral health plan. A great resource. By no means do you have to use it, but we are trying to bring as many resources to you as possible that you are able to pick up and use. So this last image I kind of want to leave you with. My email is on that slide, jessica.byers@cdph.ca.gov. Please feel free if you have any other questions or if you want to work on anything else regarding Rethink Your Drink, please contact me. And just again, leaving you with this last message of choose healthy drinks for healthy teeth. Drink water and low-fat milk.
Great. Well, thank you, Jessica, for such enriching information. And thank you, everyone, for joining the Lunch and Learn series today. I just wanted to make a quick announcement for our next Lunch and Learn. It will be on May 20th, Thursday at noon. And it will be on successful media interviews, what to do before, during, and after a reporter interviews you. And the presenter is going to be Matt Jacob, and he is a communications consultant. So we're hoping that we can see everybody there at the next Lunch and Learn. So thank you again for joining. And I'm going to go ahead and pass to Nancy for the closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Keiko, and thank you, everyone. We sincerely, again, apologize for the last minute glitches, but no matter how much you prepare and do everything possible to foresee any mistake or any problem, something happens at the last minute with the technology. So we thank you for your patience. We're going to make sure that everybody receives the materials directly as well are posted right away in the COTAC website. We thank you for your participation. And on behalf of COTAC in the California Department of Public Health, Office of Oral Health, we thank you. And this concludes today's Lunch and Learn. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Hey, Jessica, let me stop it right here. Jessica, did you go? I stopped it already. Sincerely apologize. I don't know. Everything went wrong. And let me tell you, it was in the last maybe 10 minutes before we started, because I run it twice, 3 times. Even this morning, I tested it again. Everything was fine. I have a feeling that something in the settings went awry, because I couldn't even start it here. Then it popped up. Then, a little bit with the video in the notes, that definitely is something that I got to see what is it, the settings that is causing that, because I'm very familiar with that.
Yeah, I know that.
Also, I was going to tell you, a lot of people emailed me saying that they couldn't get in, and they all got reminders this morning. So I wonder if there's something there, because until this morning, about an hour ago before we started, everything was just fine. Everything was fine. So the only thing I can interpret is that reminder that we sent. I set it up for 1 hour before, and it was set up this morning. So maybe that screw up everything. So my sincere apologies. Overall, you came out across well, and the message is there. And I'm going to make sure that everybody gets it. Will the people who signed up make sure they get the 3 links, the video, and they know how to go to COTAC as well in case they need to.
Real quick, Nancy, I still show 19 participants on. Is it?
No, it's already stopped.
Okay.
It's already stopped. So,
I see it on my end too, Jessica. You're right.
It's
Dwindling down.
Yeah, but I already stopped and it ended up completely. So
Okay.
I'm talking to you over the second.
We can go ahead and stop the recording as well, because it's.
I did already. That's what I'm saying. So something is pretty.
I still have the red light.
Yeah, it's
No,
flashing.
At my end, it's off.
Oh,
So I wonder if there's like two sign-ins, they're interfering.
I don't know.
yeah.
Anyway, we'll edit this one too as well to cut up the conversation. So no worries about that.
Okay.
In the beginning as well. But when we finish it, I'll let you see it too as well, and we're gonna post it and so on. And Keiko, thanks for the help. I really appreciate it. But
Oh.
while you were passing all those, what was I going to say? All the black boxes popping up. Every time that Keiko clicked on something, there were black boxes popping up everywhere.
Yeah, I think what Zoom does is that's a protective thing so that people don't see other things that are popping up on your screen when you're sharing your. So I don't know how to disable that or make that not happen.
Oh, that's so bizarre. I'm sorry, because the only thing I was clicking on was a chat and the Q&A.
Yeah, no,
those boxes come up, but they just come up as like grayed out boxes.
And do they stay there? Because
yes.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
So no, the good news is on the video, at one point you move your mouse and that took off one of the one for the video, was preventing them to see the content in the closed caption. But I noticed that, I thought, oh my gosh, something else. Well, they were popping everywhere. When you went to the toolbar, they will pop. I could see where you went. As a matter of fact,
because I had to look for, the news share because I didn't want to stop the sharing.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. It's so bizarre because when I tested out with my friend, it didn't black out on her screen. So maybe it's a new thing.
So yeah, I really think so. I'm gonna have to revisit all the settings because this never happened to any of us before, including to about an hour ago. And the only thing I really again think is that setting of changing the send a message at the last hour. That's what I think it probably corrupted a lot of my settings because it was just fine. Anyway, thank you so much, Keiko. So,
you're welcome.
So since I recorded on the side, I'm going to edit this conversation and whatever it is, if it shows in there, and then we'll get on to make sure that they get all these materials. And I don't know what happened, to be honest with you, but good lesson. I'm going to keep actually a copy of the old one so we know all the things to look for future. And thank you for pitching in. I really appreciate it.
No problem. But great job, Jessica. You're a great presenter. You have a nice flow. You have a nice tone.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope we didn't make you any more nervous. Did we get you nervous? I think you were getting very nervous at one point.
Towards the very end, I was getting a little nervous just because I didn't want to delay.
Yeah, no, it was fine. It was fine. And then there were not many questions, to be honest. So
no, there were. I do wish now thinking back that Dr. Walton Haynes would be on, just because I'm not a dentist and I don't know all those answers specifically about dental questions.
Yeah.
So like there's some additional questions about fluoridation in the chat. So we'll be sure to get something out.
Okay, and I thought of making her a panelist even before it was requested, but the problem is that she needs to be able to participate. Nevertheless, she has to come in through that link as a panelist.
Nancy, she had a conflict today. Both she and Dr. Kumar had a meeting that's a national meeting that they have to participate in. That's why they weren't on today.
That's right. No, but I'm talking about how were you able to get in? Through your phone?
Yes.
You were calling in. But I think I'm going to make it a practice for me in the future to put all of you who usually participate as panelists, whether you come as a panelist or not, in case, you know what I mean? I thought of making you a panelist, but then I thought, well, maybe she doesn't, I haven't told her that, so I won't want to force her. But just in case you want to participate, you can pitch in. But the key is you got to sign in with that one to be able to participate. You couldn't call and then in the middle of the conversation try to be a panelist. You will have to come in through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That worked out well.
Thank you so much. And I'm so sorry again about all the glitches, but frankly, as much as we prepare, something went totally awry and we did our best. Let's see how we can make it up to everybody.
Yeah. And Nancy,
Yes.
and I know you know how to, but I think it'll be nice to pull the Q&A report as well, so Jessica can share with her
Yes.
team.
Yes.
So yeah, if you can do that,
yes.
that'll be great. Thank you.
Yes, I'll download it with this and make sure to. And then, I mean, you know, again, sincerely, we did everything. I mean, until about an hour, less than an hour ago, everything was fine. And I tested it many times. I was even so happy about the video being able to run directly from the web, from the presentation with no problem. And I did it actually in both systems, in the Mac and the Dell. And I don't know, again, I'm gonna talk to the webmaster about maybe if it was that changing the reminder to everybody, if that inflicted some sort of glitch.
Do you
And I've-
always go between the Mac and the Windows? Because
Well,
sometimes that can cause, the interface can cause issues.
correct. And this time, the only thing I did is I loaded it in both, but I'm working out of the Dell because that's the one I prefer to do when I do the webinars. It's much nimble, faster, and easier. So I can say with all due honestly, I did not interfere with the Mac today. So it's something else. But in any case, we learn a lot. I learned a lot about these little glitches that unexpectedly can bug on us. Thank you for being here, Dr. Walton Haynes. Appreciate it. And Keiko, thank you again, okay?
Oh, you're very welcome. But yeah,
Um,
Jessica, again, you did a wonderful job. Great information. We'll have everything up.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you guys for all your help. Yeah, if we could just do the Q&A and the participant list, I think we'll be all set. And then following up with the recording.
Yeah, and the links that I'm sending are 2 PDF links and the recordings link, right?
No, let's do the PDF link for the intervention guide and then the YouTube link.
So not the plan, not the California Oral Health Program plan.
I don't think that's necessary.
Okay, all right. Okay, no problem.
All right.
All right, thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Dr. Haynes.